Hi everybody, my name is Linda and this is my art research project video presentation I will be doing for you. I'm going to try and not say or alright or any of those other annoying things that I know I do when I talk. I'm sorry, I am not good at public speaking, and even though I'm just in front of a camera, my brain knows that people are going to watch this, and that's why I talk really retarded. So I'm sorry for that, and so I'm going to try not to say that a lot either. Let me get started for you. Because I am a huge believer in women power and women giving each other strength, I will be talking about the feminist art movement. Now, basically, the feminist art movement is the efforts and accomplishment of feminists internationally to produce art that reflects women's lives and experiences. It changes the foundation for the production and reception of contemporary art. Now, the feminist movement began with the idea that women's experiences must be expressed through art, where previously they had been ignored or trivialized. Because basically, according to artstory.org, before feminism, a majority of female artists were denied access to art exhibitions and gallery representation based solely on the fact that they were women, their gender. So that's why. So I said I wasn't going to say that. I'm sorry. Anyways, that's the concept, the idea that I have here. I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples or a couple of key notes about the feminist art movement, and then I will move on to some pictures that I have here and some artists that you might want to look up if you're interested in this. Let me start with saying that this is known, the feminist art movement that started in the late 1960s is also known as the second wave of feminism. The first wave, I believe, started in the mid-1900s, but this is the second wave. And it is quoted by Wikipedia in saying that it is called the most influential international movement of any during post-war period. And that was by Wikipedia. Also, there is a artist here that I have quoted. Her name's Susan Lacey, and she has said that the feminist art movement, sorry, my phone's dying. The feminist art movement idea is to influence culture, attitudes, and transform stereotypes. And that's what I'm trying to do here. All right. So annoying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So feminist artists basically create a dialogue between a viewer and artwork through the inclusion of women's perspective. Feminist artists usually embrace materials or alternate media, which is materials. They incorporate fabric, fiber, performance, and video instead of other historically male-dominated things, such as sculptures or paintings. So because as we learned in our history class, in our art class, in the history, there's a lot of male artists that created awesome paintings and sculptures and stuff like that. But we don't hear a lot about the female ones. Why? Because the females, when they started this movement, decided to use other materials to make their own, instead of having to compete with decades of males. Let's see. One artist that you should really look into is Judy Chicago. She is predominantly one of the early activists in this movement. And I actually have a picture here that she made, or this is one of her things right here. This is called Dinner Party. So that's, I don't know if you can see it, but that's one of her artworks right there. It's actually really nice and I like it a lot. I really got into her stuff when I was doing this research. And then also she worked with, let me get my notes here. She worked with Miriam Chaparro, and they created this. It's called Woman House in 1972. I know you can't really see it. It's not really an awesome picture. I'm sorry. It's not in color. I actually have a better one here, but probably you can't see it either. Yeah, it's awful. Let's see if... All right. So that was made by, or this one, Woman House, was made in 1972 by Judy Chicago, who I spoke about, and Miriam Shapiro. Now, there's a couple other, sorry, I dropped my paper. There's a couple other artists that I'm going to talk about that you can look up on your own because they're actually really interesting, but this video would be fairly too long if I did. Let's see, Carolee Sheeman, Judy Chicago, which I've already spoken about, Miriam Shapiro, which collaborated with Judy Chicago for that last picture, Anna Mendieta, Barbara Kruger, Jenny Holzer, Faith Ringgold, and Martha Rosler. They all have some really awesome artwork that you should really look into. Okay, so some other things that you might want instead of looking at just pictures. There's an article, it was an essay that was published by Linda Nolchins. It's called Why Are There No Great Female Artists? It was published in 1971. It's a really good read. You should really look into it. Another one that I really enjoyed was, this was a photo essay, this was a photo essay that was published in Life magazine in 1957, and it's called Women, Artists, and Ascendancy. And I actually have a picture that I found online of one of the photos. So it's right here. Again, it's not in color and it's tiny, but you can kind of get the idea of it. There's two women there and they're like holding a knife up to the man's neck. Or it looks more like, yeah, like a knife up to the man's neck. It's really cool. So that's basically what I researched. I got really into it and I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys enjoy my kind of random ADHD video. I'm sorry, that's how I roll. So take care and good luck to everybody else in the class.